Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bacon, I make plans for 7:45, and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Well, good evening, one and all. Thanks so much for joining us and all of our featured guests tonight. It is going to be quite a show. I know there's going to be lots of discussion in regards to some of the stuff that is going on in CFN land and otherwise, but happy belated Father's Day to all you fathers out there, and perhaps maybe sons without fathers that are trying to, to bring back some of the great memories of their fathers, relive those memories. We all had a great weekend. My thoughts go out to those who unfortunately don't have fathers and just have the memories that go along with it. I myself don't, and it's tough. So my thoughts are with you folks that do not have fathers in your life, because tell you it's different growing up. You learn to grow up real quick when you don't have a father figure in your life. Sometimes those fathers can teach us how to act, teach us how to treat one another, and various other things, or just listen. Sometimes it's just about listening. Happy belated birthday, if it is belated. I think it might actually be today, to our good buddy over at OFC, Jeff Richard. If you're listening, Jeff, happy birthday, my friend, from all of us here at CFN. And a big shout out, congrats to Bait to Go Outdoor Flavors. They received the Preferred Supplier of the Year award for 2021. This is quite a prestigious award that is given out every year by NOTO, which is Nature and Outdoor Tourism Ontario. If you've been up north and you know the far north, you know the NOTO. They are a big component of what goes on up there. Just a reminder, an update for all those who have bought stickers. Thank you. There are 4 of you. We are looking for a 5th. And again, if you want to buy a sticker pack, please contact me. I will point you in the right direction, because we still want to give away one of these. We also have an interesting contest that Jay Barnucz and I are going to be discussing in regards to species identification and how that's going to look with our CFN Live each and every week. But yeah, absolutely, it is going to be fun, and it's going to be beneficial for all who participate. Sally, how you doing? Bill's in the house. How you doing, Steve? Nice to see Steve and Walt. If they're watching, again, if you have an edit, a photo edit of something that you're really proud of, perhaps maybe you caught it last week, perhaps maybe you caught it last year. We're very willing to do edits for our CFN community. All we ask is that you put it in the inbox. Go to the CFN Facebook page, press message, and it will steer you in the right direction from there. Barry's in the house. How you doing, Lloyd? Good to see you. Damien Whitechurch, always a pleasure to have you. Joe Moore's with us. Jeanette, yeah, baby. David, nice to see you. Corey's in the house from all the way out west. Mark Wolf, some great names. Pete LeDuc, always a pleasure to see you as well. Bill Allen, yeah, baby. Nice to have you as well with us. And everyone else who joins us each and every Monday for what we hope to be beneficial, educational, and downright entertaining. So keep it here, and hopefully we achieve one of the 3, 2 of the 3. No, I'm kidding. Again, big announcement. Fish Whipped Apparel is doing CFN swag. There is a CFN grab bag that includes a hat, a boat flag, as well as a buff. If you are interested in waving the flag, showing our colors, or just some CFN swag, by all means, go to Fish Whipped Apparel and .ca and ask our good friend Babs how you can purchase one, if not all, of the above mentioned articles. Again, we have our CFN Western Retreat, which is drawing very, very close. Seems like just around the corner. It seemed like an eternity away, but Jan Lake Lodge have put the docs in, and they are ready to host not only us CFNers, but a whole host of others. July 10th to 16th. I know Barry and Sally are off there. Walt can't wait himself. This is going to be a great outing. It's going to be a great year, and I can't wait to see some of the pictures that come from this. Of course, CFN is hosting its 4th annual CFN retreat at Horwood Lake Lodge, and from what I understand, I was talking to Richard Dunlop today, there are only 10 spots left, only 10 spots available at Horwood Lake Lodge. And one thing that Richard told me that has been a reoccurring theme is that there's a lot of folks on the fence. They're not 100% sure if they can come, if they can make it, if you're just uncertain. So what we will do each and every Monday is remind you of what is in store. Again, 4th annual CFN retreat, Horwood Lake Lodge. It is a great group that comes, and I would love to see you being one of those in the group. Of course, Camp McIntosh is going to be hosting the very first OFC Nation retreat. It is going to be in September. By all means, reach out to Camp McIntosh. I know we are more than halfway there in terms of occupancy, but that's later on in September. You got lots of time to book, but I highly suggest you do it soon, because I have a feeling that that is going to book up quickly. And again, if you need your appetite whetted, take a look at this. Going to be a great time. Can't wait for that. And of course, last but not least, the CFN Fish Off has officially come to an end. And on that note, let's bring in Mike Consul to discuss this year's event.
Yes,
Mike,
sir.
You have a guest, the one and only Kenneth C. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Oh, living the dream, as they say. Mike, this looks official. You're all dressed up, and are you on a date with Ken, or what's going on here?
we had a meeting at another non-fishing capacity, but we were both at the meeting, and I said, "Hey, why don't you jump on to CFN Live with me? You know, this is a CFN champion right here, 3-time champion." So,
are there any fish in the office? Jay is asking. No, now, Kenneth, I want to announce something with you that Jay and I are going to undertake. And I don't want you to be upset, but we are going to probably look for perhaps to your expertise. It is a contest that we're going to run when it comes to fish identification. And we would love for you to be a part of throwing a curveball to some of our CFNers when it comes to identifying fish and perhaps a potential contest giveaway, or just in case neither Jay or I can identify the fish species. So we'll look to your expertise in the future of that. But Mike, I know you want to get to the CFN Fish Off and everything that has gone on. I'll let you take it away, my friend.
Just wanted to thank all of those who were involved, both on the participant side as well as the organization team. People like Ken, who helped ID fish, the My Catch team, part of Anglers Atlas, who also help verify and ID fish. People like Dave Sanderson and Daryl Nelson, Joel Haynes, and anyone else who was involved behind the scenes to try to make it as smooth as possible, answer all questions. This year is like customer service, so it's like a 24/7 job, as well as, just being there for those who had questions. Thank you. Without the team effort, we couldn't have done it. We had over 200 teams and close to 2,000 entries over 4 weeks. So it doesn't just take one person to make that all happen. It takes a team. So thank you to the community for participating, and thank you to all the people behind the scenes for making it happen.
100%. 100%.
Which means tomorrow,
yes,
we got another draw.
Yep.
Tomorrow's the big draw because every single species is a ballot. And we also have our Shimano draw. So we'll do one draw tomorrow, and we'll do a second draw the following Tuesday. The scores are up. We do have to finalize some points. We do have to ID some fish. And so the scores are not final. They're probably close to the placements that will be final, but nothing is final until we go through every single ID, as well as every single measurement, as well as every single ID and measurement that are in question. And then at that point, we can crown the 2022 CFN Fish Off champion.
And keep in mind, we're going to be reaching out to Rocky and Ava because, of course, there is a next-gen CFN prize as well that Ava put together some of her winnings and some of her stuff and graciously donated it. So we're going to get them on the show, and we're going to get young Ava to pick the winner, or at least be a part of selecting the winner. So stay tuned to that. That'll be coming in the coming weeks as well. But there's lots of goodness still to happen. Lots of great giveaways, lots of great merchandise. So stay tuned, and we'll do it every Tuesday. Mike and I, and maybe Kenneth, who knows?
So before I let you go, Scott, I did want to ask Ken, was there any really cool fish or any cute entries or any fish in general that you're like, wow, that is amazing that was submitted this year in 2022?
The spotted ratfish on a jig.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
Have you caught that? A ratfish?
Nope. I've tried 3 times now in Vancouver. Always just miss the right timing for them. We have, in fact, fished the same pier. Mitch found out where we fished last year, and he went back and he fished the same pier. So
is that where they got the ratfish?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So we were there.
Yeah, it was in Prince Rupert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
everybody knows now. I'll go there.
And listen, if anybody knows Kenneth, he does not like giving away his spots. For the fact that he just offered that up to our community, good on you, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the giving continues and we can give back to you. But Sally has a question for you before you go. What is your species count up to now?
1,069.
1069. And the ratfish is not on that list.
I find it amazing that it was caught on a jig because they are usually fairly slow swimming, bottom feeding fish. They eat a lot of crustaceans, a lot of like carcasses. They're not actively swimming. If you watch them videos of them swimming, they flap their pectoral fins. They're fairly slow moving. So, but stranger things have happened before. That fish grabbed a jig. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a reason why I picked to fish that pier was for a chance there because they're usually very deep water fish. You'll find them in waters over 70 feet usually. Sand bottom, which is the characteristics at that pier. We caught a lot of flatfish when we were there, and I know Brandon caught a Pacific halibut there. Not a very common catch according to the locals. Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, if you're impressed, I'm like over the moon because 1,069 species of fish. I can assure you, I won't even get to a third of that before I leave this planet. So, Kenneth, you win, my friend, and I'll declare you champion every chance I get. Holy.
The other one I found really cool was Nick's whiting. So he caught a whiting on a kayak, fairly shallow in about 70 feet of water. Usually they're much deeper fish.
Wow.
They don't come inshore as much. When I caught mine, it was over like 150 feet of water. So just to be able to catch that at about 70 feet of water on a kayak, man-powered, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you've got some competition from Corey. I caught over 1,000 fish species in the United States. That's worthy of a mention. Good on you, Corey, for that. Both you and Kenneth are at a level that some of us will just never be. But we love.
I would love to see his list, see what he's caught in the States.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great spots. Mitch actually has if you put that up there, Scotty, I usually drop shot right to the bottom and lift the jig lightly, but I have a piece of meat on the treble.
That's probably what it went for.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I would say that, I mean, you could catch any kind of fish really like that. So good on you that it was a ratfish and a rare species of fish, and you've got Kenneth impressed. So that's a big check mark.
So, folks, join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We're going to do one of the 2 draws we have left. And if we're ready to announce the final winners tomorrow, we will, but it might take a while. But thank you to the 200-plus teams that entered. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Jim McLaughlin's coming up next. Kenneth, Mike, you guys take care. Enjoy your night, and we'll see you tomorrow, Mike.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
There he is, the one and only, the non-myth and definite legend.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I see that, my friend. That's yeah. And listen, this was your weekend. Bass opener just passed, and I'm sure you had the tingle, you had the itch. You threw a few lines, you wet a few baits.
Yeah, the backyard sucked. The slop is this thick. I had to use a 1-ounce sinker to get through it.
Take Jim to call it the way it is, eh? Like, there's no sugarcoating. We're not here to put on the cotton gloves. It sucked. Well, that's too bad, Jim.
You know those guys talking about how many fish they've caught?
Yeah.
They get another 40 or 50, they'll pull up even with me. So they've still got time. But I'll tell you one thing. You think that's funny?
Sorry, no. It's funny that we have a chance.
None of them have caught this one.
No, I dare say I've only seen that in my dreams, a fish like that. But
I think Homer Simpson caught one.
Yeah, but I will say this: Lawrence isn't here tonight, and if we keep polluting the water the way we are, I'm sure they'll show up in abundance.
I'm sure they're there already.
Yeah.
Just what you need. Yeah, happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yes, to you as well,
So,
Jim.
yeah, a picture of my dad. wasn't the best father. Had a lot of trouble, and I'm sure it was PTSD.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't talk about it back then. Had troubles with alcohol, but I'll tell you one thing: to be proud of him as a soldier.
Yeah.
He was a special ops guy. When I was a kid in Montreal, he'd disappear for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
We'd go to the airport and go around the back to the military part, and there he'd be, all scuffed up, filthy, like he'd been off doing deeds, eh? So it's he was always there when the call came to be a soldier, and he made pretty good at the end of his life. So we're all even.
There you go. That's all.
I think I told you about that once when my dad died, and we went to the funeral. I put my hand on my dad's hand in the coffin, and I said to him, I said, it did not work out the way you wanted it to. You were a hell of a soldier. You were the bravest thing on the face of the earth. And I said, everything's under the bridge now. You just go and rest.
Yeah.
And my mother got weak-kneed and almost collapsed when I said that, because I don't think she thought she'd ever hear that out of me.
Right.
Because like I said, he wasn't the best dad.
Yeah. Well, it takes all kinds, unfortunately. And
but I've talked to lots of guys in the armed forces about it, and they say, he was probably PTSD'd up the yin yang.
Yeah.
But 40, 50 years ago, you didn't talk about that stuff.
Well,
60 years ago.
This is the thing, Jim. Like you put 18-year-olds, sometimes even younger, in the face of sure death. And nowadays, some people can't react to the sun coming up in the morning. And I'm not saying that to be funny or disrespectful, but we understand it now. I don't know how we can't understand it back then. And now, through with science and medical information and just people getting the knowledge out there and the info, we're more aware. But you're right. I mean, it's a sign of weakness, and I can't imagine living with PTSD back in his days.
Oh, I couldn't imagine living with it anytime.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
I know, like I've told you, I've talked to you about the guys that I know that have gone through some, what they coin as horrible shit.
Yeah.
But they went and did it, and they're proud of themselves, and they should be.
Right on. Well, it's unfortunate that we only recognize them for the one day, but I've always been a proponent that we should be wearing the poppy year round to show our thanks and gratitude for their sacrifices, in some cases, ultimate sacrifices. But yeah, it's unbelievable to imagine what it was like back then.
I was out in the garage digging through some stuff, and I found a bunch of old stuff, and I look up, and it's just a ton. Hey, Eve, how are you, buddy? There's just a ton of stuff out there. And I go into one of the boxes, and I had found these grubs, because grubs used to be the deal.
Right.
Everybody that's been into fishing for a while knows grubs. But when you were out fishing and you had a grub on the line, and this happened, and the bluegill swims off with the tail, and you're stuck with this. So what did you do?
You pulled out a Tokyo ring.
You pulled out a Tokyo ring.
I'm kidding.
You spell that? So you immediately changed it and put one that wiggled.
Yeah.
So now what's the biggest thing out there? A Ned rig.
Ned rig, yep.
So I find a box in the garage, and it's marked guide stuff. So I find the gloves I've been looking for that I used to keep in case it was cold. I find a whole bunch of stuff. Then I find these. Now this is from when I used to guide in the St. Lawrence. I find these two bags out there. 20 years ago plus, when a Senko had barely been discovered, they made one that was 2.5 inches long, 3 inches long.
Okay.
So I had my clients fish with these on a jig head most of the day, a lot of times. So there's the Ned rig 20, 25 years ago.
Wow.
In the St. Lawrence. And I found these bags. They're absolutely just ancient. They used to be packed because I used to buy them, by the hundreds. I think there was 250 came in a bag from when I used to buy them. And, there's some, I used to use dark purple, like really, really dark purple. You can see all the salt still on them, and the white ones. And I'd have them throw that. So, everybody thinks this is the first time around for the Ned rig. And although we didn't call it a Ned rig, we still used it, and everybody still panics when the tail comes off the twister.
Yeah, and to Jason's point, this is a jig worm, as Al Lunder.
Almost, yep.
Yeah,
A
you're
little shorter, a little fatter, but yeah, boom, buddy, you're right on.
Yeah, no,
And,
absolutely.
I used to fish those Kalin's Western weenies. We used to fish that Texas rig with a little number 1 or 1/0 hook, little fine 4-inch worm, and a split shot. Well, they call it a split shot rig. It was a California thing for clear water and that. Maybe 18 inches up the line, just a little split shot.
Yeah.
And then we took it as far as getting split shot that had a hole in the middle. I'll dig them out for next week and show you. I still have them in a box. And it was like a Carolina rig, but with just a little split shot.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, the number of fish that, like the amount of money that I won doing that was nuts. And you know, you could go down to the St. Lawrence or Lake Simcoe now, do that, and you'd catch the heck out of them, just like anything else.
Well, put your hand up if you can't wait till next week to see that, because I know I'm one of them.
I gotta find it.
Jim, I've always wanted to ask you this question, and we always get sidetracked. But is there a bait, or maybe a series of baits, maybe a handful of baits that have disappeared over time that you still wish were around today?
I don't really think so.
No,
not that would really stick in my head. You know, you'll get the guy out there that will say that, but he's the kind of guy that goes to the lake and that's all he ever ties on, and they don't make them now. So he says, well, every fish I ever caught was on that lure. Well, it's because the only lure you put in the water.
right.
So of course, you know, I mean, we've talked about this before. I can make a spinnerbait the best lake trout lure in the world for trolling. If 100 guys go out in boats and I give 90 of them a spinnerbait to troll on a gang troll or on a downrigger, or you know what I mean, you're going to catch fish with them. It's the way it works.
Well, we're getting some great answers. Luke says he'd love to see the banjo minnow come back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you stub your toe tonight.
Corey would love to see the Lucky 13 crankbait, topwater bait. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it was a little topwater from Hedden.
Okay.
There's tons of things out there that are, you know, sort of the same. Hey, Moss Boss. Hey, that's a good one, you know.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Moss Boss is, that's something, the Ottawa River, when I started fishing tournaments, cha-ching.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fish came out on that.
Pork rinds. You see,
they make pork rinds now.
I was going to say, I see them down in the States. I don't know if they're up here in Canada, but I do see them a lot when I go down to the States.
Yep, they brought them back. They've got the pork frogs back and several other shapes in that. Yeah, you can get them.
And then Jeremy's got the Alaska wildfin. I can't say I've ever seen.
That's the thing that was made by Lucky Strike. Had a big piece of mylar and it spun on the top.
Jeremy, hopefully you'll be able to answer that.
I'll answer that if he does. I might have a real surprise for him next week.
And David Krieger, Mr. Twister top prop kills the topwater pike in Northwest Territories.
Apparently anything he throws kills pike. The guy got a 50-inch pike last week.
I know. What a
50-inch pike. And that's not like, this is a 50-incher.
Yeah. Johnson
he wasn't
Silver.
using Mark Council's measuring tape. Like, I mean, he had the legit one.
Yeah. The Johnson Silver Minnow, I remember that absolutely. The salad spoon.
Was that the Bagley lure, Sean?
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah. Bagley's had one, but I got something really cool here. I'll make Jay happy.
And the helicopter lure, absolutely, Steve. I remember that. It was a shame to see that go. I enjoyed. Yeah. So Ed, Ed, it's funny you say this because that's what I thought Jim's answer was going to be. He loved his cream craws and worms. I thought you would have mentioned that because I know you've mentioned it before how much you enjoyed those products.
So these silver minnows, they're black ones, not silver ones, but they're Johnson silver minnows. These were, see the bend in the wire?
Yeah.
It's not just straight.
Mm-hmm.
I had Ricky Klund bent these for me, standing on a dock on the St. Lawrence.
Wow.
And he told me, don't tie it right to the eye. Put a split ring on it. And it just gives the lure more freedom. It doesn't have to move the line, just like putting a snap for a crankbait. I'm sure you could put a snap on here; it would serve the same purpose.
Right.
But I got 4 of them here, and I've always had them in this little bag. They've kicked around for 30 years. I never got rid of them. They were sort of like a sentimental value. So tell Jay if he ever comes over this way, he can come to the house and get one.
There you go. And the Alaska Wildfin,
Yeah.
You were correct in what you said. I forget what that was, but Jeremy just responded, yes, it is. So
Tell him to send me a PM.
okay, there you go. Jeremy, challenge accepted. And Hedden still makes the Moss Boss. Interesting.
Yeah, you just don't see them around. You know, there was another one that Rebel made called the Talking Spoon.
Yes. Okay.
And it was phenomenal in grass. It caught the heck out of the fish. But the thing was, when you were fishing with it, you could get it through the grass. Wild rice, I mean, is one of the best things that there is for largemouths. And the Talking Spoon, for some reason, was the most clumsy looking, stupid thing with a big wire weed guard and everything.
Yeah.
Just drilled this thing. I don't know what it was about them. So when Jim, I can't even remember the guy's name now. I feel terrible. He ran Pradco. He was a Canadian guy.
Okay. Yeah.
He went down to the States, and I called one day, and he says, let me let you talk to one of the guys in the back. And the guy came on, and he says, Jim, you're looking for Talking Spoons. I go, yeah. He says, well, that was something that we used to pretty well only send to Canada. They caught on up there big time, and it was really, he said, let me check in the back and see if I have some. And he found a bunch of old, I think they were G finish or something like that, but they were all gold.
Yeah.
All the paint was coming off them with the finish, whatever it was. They were like 15 years old or something. Just been sitting in the back of a warehouse. And he sent me up a couple of dozen of them. And the hook was screwed on, so we unscrewed the hooks, took the wire, the skirt off, everything, hung them all up, spray painted them all black, put them all back together and everything else. And then we used them for a while, and it just was one of those things. There's so many better tools out there now.
Yes. And
so many better tools like that.
100%.
Like the quality of plastics, the density, like all the Z-Man stuff. I mean, there's just so much quality stuff out there. That just they keep improving, keep improving. Like, guys come to me and they say, "Oh, I have a Fluger Supreme at home. It's just as good as any bait casting reel anybody makes today." And I think, like, really?
Yeah.
Like, have you turned the handle on one of those things? Have you know what I'm saying, though?
100%, dude. 100%.
Like, it's just not the same. The things are so much better now. It's like augers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Man, some old stuff out there, though. Eh?
It's interesting. We're seeing, the Wiggle Wart. I do remember that, Jeremy. Yeah. Storm made a great product in that.
Big money for those if you have originals.
Oh, is it?
Money.
Really? Well, I don't have any of them in the package, but they were really good for walleye. Man's jelly worm and Berkeley power worms. Yeah, absolutely. I remember those. Pingati.
Oh, I remember that. That was a funny looking crankbait type thing.
Never even heard of that. Wow.
Yeah.
The one bait that I will say that I miss, and I know somebody tried to make a go at it, which was the Lure Jensen. It was a deep diving crankbait, probably about 4 inches long, 5 inches long. It had a chrome body with an orange underbelly. It had the weirdest looking plastic on the front of it to make it dive.
Yeah, the lip had the little balls that came out at the front.
Yeah, it was the weirdest looking.
Somebody just introduced something that looks almost the same as that.
So that's exactly what I was going to get to. So there's a company that's trying to make a go of bringing that back, and I hope they're successful and it makes its way up here. Because I'll tell you, back in the day, I loved that crankbait for walleye. It was fantastic for walleye. But Sally has a question, and I'll let you answer it because you would know better than any of us. Why do companies delete a well-loved product?
Because it doesn't sell.
Well, if it works and people are buying it, because I know that Rapala went down that road, unfortunately, and discontinued some lines, not many, but some. And one people loved, it was that gold color, I would say mid-depth crankbait. They no longer produced it, and it was a big walleye slayer up in the north. But anyway, yeah, it's a good question, Sally. Don't really know other than just as Jim said, it's
I mean,
not.
it's easy for them to tell. They look down. How many did we sell?
Yeah.
10,000 means nothing. It's not worth them making it. You don't realize how big these companies are, and there's a bottom line, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
How fast to sell.
Still have the wiggle wart. Yeah, my wife loves the jitterbug, says Jay. Absolutely. And J.R. Paquette, who has just joined us. Again, congratulations. We said at the outset for winning that prestigious NOTO award for 2021. Nice. Congratulations to you. Anglers love the new mousetrap, and that is a big driver of sales. Yeah, I suppose, at the end of the day, it's all about marketing. And bait fuel, I know we're going to be talking to our good buddy there in regards to bait fuel and the components and where it's come to. I'm looking forward to that because Mr. Bruce Tufts has had a huge hand in the creation of this. And we are going to be sharing, there's a YouTube video that goes over how it got to where it is now, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, when he sat here with me there a few weeks ago talking to me about that, we had to talk about it for half an hour. I couldn't believe it.
Well, if we share the video, which we will on Friday, we're going to feature it because we do want to put as many of this in the hands of our CFNers as we possibly can, because it is a product that I'm finding is having a huge effect on success for me. So I'm looking forward to hearing the same for others. But when you see that video played on Friday, hopefully you'll become a little bit more educated on where it started, its inception, the R&D that went into it, the creation of it. It's remarkable, absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, he told me there was like tubs of experiments from every angle you could look at.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Jim, what have you got upcoming? Are we getting the boat wet? Are we gonna see you out?
Yeah, actually, I'm picking the boat up tomorrow.
Yes.
They eventually found the time to get it rigged. It's been there since the fall.
Supply chain it has been evil. It's just been ugly, and it's going to get even worse. I got a question for you, being obviously a seasoned pro and representative of our beloved Shimano company. Somebody reached out to me today about a rod that exploded. He casted with something that the rod should have handled, but needless to say, he's not sure how to go about reaching out to the company and just seeing if there's anything that they can do. Obviously, there's certain.
Tell them to message me.
Okay, all right, we'll do. Fantastic.
It was funny, I had a young lad that I know when he bought a high-end Shimano rod and comes to me and he says to me, I was fishing and I banged it on the side of the boat.
Yeah.
And he said, I looked at it and it was fine. And about 2 minutes later, we hooked the fish and it broke. So I said, well, most fishing rods are not broken fishing.
Yes.
Very few. Yeah. They're broken going into the rod compartments, being carried into the garage, being taken out of the boat. Everybody's done it where they've, set the hook and bang the rod on the side of the boat. So you're fishing there. They do things like they get a fish and the rod's bent perfectly. And then they put their hand up here on the rod to lift the fish in, and the rod breaks right at their hand. So if you want to break something, what do? You put it to the edge of your hand.
Yeah.
And you bend on it.
Well, it makes sense.
You know what I mean? And that's how things break. And it's really simple to do. But most of them are what they call bruised. And especially with graphite, because it's wound so tight, it doesn't take that. It doesn't like that wrap. Yeah. Everybody set the hook and had the lure come back and hit the rod and heard that sickening sound. Yeah. But it doesn't break. But I'll guarantee you that rod is bruised, and at the right time, they're going to break it, So
Steve Sean, ceiling fans are deadly on rod tips. Yes, they are.
How would you know that, Steve?
Yeah, personal experience, perhaps, but I'm not making fun of anybody because I've done some stupid things myself. Jeremy is going to leave us and leave you with the last question, which is truly a good one. My question is, how many new lures are out there to catch anglers and not necessarily fish?
Well, you can tell if they're in an infomercial or they, that type of thing. They're selling them at 3:00 in the morning on the shopping network.
Yes.
Probably kind of gimmicky. I don't know.
if you walk into a store that says "as seen on TV," run fast, because
180.
Yeah.
I tried to explain to a guy the other day. He says, "Well, I'm doing a 360 with my fishing this year. I'm not getting got a gate." And I said, "Well, no, you mean a 180?" He says, "No, a 360. I'm turning right around." I said, "So then you'll be doing the same thing." And he goes, "Oh, that's right. Hey, okay, I'm going to do a 180."
I'm glad you were easy on him, Jim. Listen,
I was.
I thank you so much, as I do every Monday, for everything that you bring to us. And of course, that was exciting and interesting to listen to some of the old baits that have gone past in yesteryear. And we look forward to seeing you again on Monday. But more so than that, I want to see you out in the water, Jim. Can't wait.
Where am I going right now? The lake.
Yeah, baby. Right on, dude.
It's all good. Have a good night, kiddies.
All right, and enjoy yourself. We look forward to
I'm
seeing.
going down to get myself one of those three-eyed fish and enter it, and then I'll be up to 1,500 species even.
There you go, buddy. Good for you. Keep it real, dude. All the best.
Adios.
Jason Barnucz up next.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have. Thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural. Man-made. Every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that is scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
How we doing, Jay?
Doing good, Scotty. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Ed McKenzie, you nailed it, buddy. The Lure Jensen Power Dive Minnow. That's it. That's it. I'm so glad to see that it's going to be coming back in a way that resembles how it was back in the day.
Yeah, I saw a post from Freedom Tackle with some of their new crankbaits that have that old Lure Jensen style lip.
Yeah,
that's like long, but also has that little like bulb at the end of it, right?
It worked, dude. Like I'm telling you, if you just did a power stroke and pulled that thing along, it would literally go from 0 to 15 feet like that. It was unbelievable. It was unmatched in terms of its ability to get down there. And I'm glad that they're possibly coming back, because I will definitely be stocking up and making sure that I have a few.
There's lots of good baits out there, and I agree like with your comments, Scotty, about why are we changing things so much. Working with some of the great companies I work with, like I love new stuff, but you sit there and you're like, why are we changing that? You're in like the pro staff meeting, like, why are we changing that? Because I love that lure. Like, and then you find out they're going to discontinue something. Then you go into hoarder mode, right? Where it's like, oh, you're not like, there used to be a color called Green Pumpkin Party that Berkeley used to do a color and Chickasaw in. And when they said they're going out of production for Green Pumpkin Party, I got a little crazy, Scotty. Like if I saw packs of Green Pumpkin Party, like when you walk into the tackle shop, you just hold the basket out front, put your hand at the back of the peg and just pull forward, and they all just fall in the basket.
But maybe that's we can't necessarily be blamed for that, because maybe that's what we're anticipating, that they're going to discontinue the line, sweetheart. I mean, I got to stock up.
Build demand. I know.
The supply chain issue has really helped with that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you're looking for an excuse, just say, well, you know what? I hear there's not going to be any more coming in for years. So I need to stock up. I got to go right now.
Yeah. And, looking on websites right now, like it's nice to see that things are in stock when I'm looking. Like, I think we haven't fully turned the corner yet on those things, but we're definitely way better off than we were last year at this time. So
I agree. I think it's the bigger components that you're starting to see it fall through. Obviously, food. We talked about it. I went into, not to mention names, but a local, it's a big chain, big franchise. Went in and I was just stunned at the number of shelves that were empty. And you ask the help there, and they say it's all supply chain. So we're getting hit in areas that I don't think we ever thought possible.
No, it's true. And thank goodness we have fishing, Scotty. Like, during, and we just came through whatever we came through. I'm not going to bring it up, but during recessions, which is I think where we're headed, let's just call a spade a spade. Fishing is one of those sports that continues to grow during those times because it's a sport that just about anyone can do on any budget. You know, sure, you want to have all the great gadgets and toys, but you don't need those. You know, you can buy a reasonably priced combo and keep your friends and family entertained, keep your mind healthy, get outdoors, and fishing allows us to do that. So
it's good, and it's a good segue into what you and I wanted to talk about with the CFN Fish Off, and perhaps, you know, how folks could perceive this year's competition, or perhaps maybe even last year's competition, as whoever spends the most money wins. And it's unfortunate that that is viewed upon by a growing a growing group of people. It's certainly not what we ever intended it to be. But yes, obviously you do have an advantage if you're willing to travel, if you're willing to spend some money. And for that, it's sort of gotten us away from the roots of what the Fish Off is supposed to be. And Jay, as I said, I know I've shared some ideas with you, and I will continue to do so going forward on what we want it to look like in the future. But obviously we need to get back to our roots.
For me personally, Scotty, I've used the Fish Off as a way to keep my kids busy during a global pandemic. There, I said it. Okay.
Yeah.
But more so, I don't have to tell you what a fanatic our son is when it comes to fishing. But, just to watch him grow as an angler when he's challenged to fish for different things, like, he's not a bass head. He'll fish for whatever swimming past him. Okay. And, we went out fishing on the weekend. So I'll give you a little summary of our Fish Off year. Not the best year.
Mm-hmm.
We finished in 16th place. There's a bunch of us tied for 16th, which is fine. I think at 21 points. We didn't catch quite as many species as last year. Close. What hurt us this year was we didn't catch hardly any like 2, 3, and 4 point fish. A lot of our fish were 1 pointers. So we didn't get the big red horses like last year. We didn't get big gar like last year. We caught those species, but we just didn't capitalize on those fish. So instead of like 30 points, we got like 20 points. That's fine. But we had a great time. Like we fished several different places. We fished places that we fished before. We fished with friends. Trevor got to go out after school. 4 of our fish that were entered by friends of his at the local fishing hole, like high school friends that he went out on his own with his phone and the app and his tackle backpack and biked down to the local lake and met up with his grade 9 fishing fanatics, and they got like white sucker, brook trout, like they caught them, man. And those are fish that meant a lot to me because they were caught by Trevor and his buddies on his time, right? So it was great. Like the event for us was great. I'm going to tell you though, we ended on a high note. We caught 4 species of red horse on Saturday.
Wow.
And the one was a big greater red horse, big orange tail on it. And it ended up being a 3 point fish. It was 23 and a half inches. And that was Trevor's biggest personal best greater red horse. And he caught it the same way I caught my big one last year, which I think was 25 inches. It wasn't a 4 pointer. It was a 3 pointer. But sight fishing, like hiding in the grass, sight fishing a red horse in gin clear water. And when you just hear your son yell, "Dad, get the net, get the net, get the net." Like, I can just see this big red horse thrashing in this stream. Like, that's what it's all about, man. Like, not only to see him catch fish, but to see he paid attention to Dad, went out, replicated what Dad was doing. And most of the fish we entered, he's responsible for. I have no problem saying that. He's 14 years old. God forbid him if he ever gets when he starts driving, he's going to be fishing all over. I am the chauffeur. He does nap a lot when I drive him around. He likes to nap. Does anyone have any teenagers out there? Like, as soon as the vehicle leaves the driveway, it's like I haven't even got to the first stoplight. He's already.
But has he always been like that? Because I know a lot of folks, including myself, when the kids would cry at night, I just throw them in the truck and go for a drive.
Yeah, you know what? We've always traveled with the kids when the kids were real little, and we were off on leave. You know, we drove out east with them, you know, when they were like babies, you know, so they're pretty used to it. They're well traveled, and I think Trevor. But you know, what's funny, Scotty? I'll drive, you know, 3 hours to go fishing somewhere, and we get there. We left. Let's say we leave here at 4:30 or even 3:30 in the morning. We roll up to the fishing spot. I got one eye open because I'm exhausted, and he's ready to go because he's been napping for 2.5 of the 3 hours, right? So, but which motivates me, man. Like he motivates me and he pushes me, right? He comes up with ideas. He does his own research. It's a ton of fun.
That's what it's all about. And of course, you know, it's our job as senior anglers to push that passion and feed it. And hopefully, you know, what he does and what he's seen you do will be instilled in others around him. And Dave Sanderson has already said his son fished like Trevor this year and wanted to go as often as I could take him, caught 3 fish for us.
That's great.
Our points.
That's what it's all about. Like, you know, and hey, and I'm actually, you know, and I'm inspired by some of the top teams, you know, like I know I don't, it's not even a question of finance, it's a question of time. I don't got the time to drive out to the coast, but just to see the effort, like I appreciate that. Like it's like right here, man. It's like I get that. Like if I had the ability to do that, I would, but I can't. So but I sit back and I give the, you know, hats off to those teams that put in that effort, you know. But you know, we're lucky where we live, you know, in Southern Ontario. I'm not saying we, there's a lot of the collective we, like, you know, I'm a big fan of Team Bounty Bottoms. They may know that already, but just to see how those two, you know, they fish their butts off in their little corner of Ontario, and there's a lot of species there. They're not all easy to catch. Like I work with those species and I can't catch them sometimes, and so to see how well they do without traveling far, that team impresses me every year a lot. Big time.
I have to completely agree and echo those sentiments. You know, knowing Tricia and Sarah for so long, you know, they are mothers. They work. Tricia has a special needs daughter, Amber, who we love dearly. But to be able to find the time to compete each and every year and do as well as they have, and they have come very close. As I said, it was great to have them a part of last year's program, and we included them as alternates just because of that. More gratitude for their effort. So yeah,
and not taking away from anybody else, but they're just great ambassadors of the sport of fishing, really are. And you know, and to hear that, you know, even they're taking time during the fish off to go to, I think one or both, they went to the OWA event at Fanshawe Lake, like, you know, just great ambassadors. And Dave, like, you know, your son's coming a long way. Like, you know, don't think Trevor showed up the way he is. Like, you know, he had to figure it out for himself. Now the only thing I wish he would do is, he's great at taking fish off a hook, but can you please put Dad's forceps back? Because I bought you a set of forceps and you lost them. Like, dude, I every time we go fishing, I have to take stock of what is missing from my tackle bag because Trevor he's got really sticky fingers. So, but you know, it's you know, I just want him to let me know when we run out of something. I really don't care if he uses up something. Just let me know if we run out.
Let me know. You know? Well, listen, I really appreciate your positive words in regards to the fish off. As I said, this year was a little bit different than other years. It was a bit of a struggle, and it's unfortunate that people didn't experience the same kind of challenge or competition or memories as the Barnucz family, but it is what it is, and we're going to work harder to make sure that it is an improvement to next year, because at the end of the day, mistakes can be made, but if you don't learn from them, you're missing a great opportunity. So you know, our community has spoken, and we definitely listen. Now, it was Bass Opener this past weekend. Did you manage to get out and hook up?
No, I'll be honest, we talked about it. Like, we talked about driving north, and I'm going to tell you, Trevor was dead set on getting a big upgrade on one of our species. And, you know, so we went red horse hunting. You'd be surprised how many out of season smallmouth you catch on a number 8 hook, a number 8 like trout hook with like a quarter of a night crawler under a micro float on like 6-pound test fluorocarbon. And it's like, I'm not trying to catch you, man. I'm trying to catch that big red horse that was literally swimming to my bait, and then the smallmouth just comes in and grabs it. You're like, are you kidding me? Like, wow. They are pretty fun to catch on like a 7-foot light action rod, but that's not what we're targeting. But we learned a few more smallmouth spots that we're going to hit next weekend. So, you know, for us down here, I really wish Ontario would realign the bass seasons. I know we've opened them up earlier in zone 17 and 18, and it really confuses people a lot, Scotty. This is me talking personally. This is not a professional statement. Mm-hmm. So many local friends see, like on social media or friends just sharing pictures, you know, hey, bass season's open, I can go out, but it's not open yet. 16 and 19 aren't open yet. Zone 20 is. Zone 18 and 17. So, and I know there's other zones that are already open. I'm just saying that I think for the South, you know, like 16 and 19 should be open already. I think that they should just streamline that whole process down here. I don't see why they have it the way it is, but that's just me.
And you know, some would maybe take the approach or argument of walleye and how it has to be staggered based on territories, and that to me it makes sense. How it's laid out, it's not always perfect. You know, in some cases, walleye opens up north where Barry and Sally are from, and the lakes are still covered in ice. So it's not always a perfect science. But to that extent, it does make sense. But yeah, I would have to say that when it comes to bass, I have to agree. I have to agree. It should
the thing
be
about bass fisheries too is that, you know, bass provides, you know, and we've had guests on this show talk about it, you know, where we've heard that bass fishing provides some great opportunities for anglers when other species aren't as readily available.
Yeah,
and it'd be just nice to have more of that opportunity. And I'm curious about, you know, so much of the Southwest is so much warmer than most of Southern Ontario. So why aren't our bass spawning sooner? But the science here doesn't we don't have the science on that. What's good is there's science supporting the changes in the other zones, but there hasn't been studies down this way, you know, on Lake Erie, Lake St. Clair, and the inland fisheries. So, but you know what? I can complain all I want. It's only a week away. So, and actually on that note, I have to mention this, Scotty. So, when I was a kid, I used to fish opening day of bass season every year on Long Point Bay with my grandfather and my dad, and we always bought a ticket every year for the Long Point Bay Anglers Big Bass Derby. The Big Bass Derby is a fundraiser for the Long Point Bay Anglers Association. It's back on, running it this Saturday at a Turkey Point. Biggest smallmouth is $1,000. Biggest largemouth is $1,000. All you have to do is buy a $10 ticket at the local tackle shops, or most of the boat ramps around Long Point Bay. If you're coming down, so Port Rowan, Long Point, Turkey Point, we'll have club members selling them for $10. And the price of the ticket, Scotty's been $10 for 30 years. Can you believe that? But the top 3 fish caught in each category gets a cash prize. We used to do prize like swag and tackle and stuff, Scotty. It was hard to send the stuff out to the winners. So we've just gone with cash prizes. And the weigh-ins at Turkey Point Marina, the Jetty Bar and Grill is right there. Might be a beer tent set up. That's not confirmed yet, but it might happen. And I'm just hoping that we get the trouble with Long Point Bay and Lake Erie is the winds.
Yeah.
So I'm just fingers crossed that we get a relatively calm day. It's never calm out there, but relatively calm. And it's great. And Trevor and his buddy Owen are going to get some high school volunteer hours working the live release boat. Now, I'll be honest with everyone watching. It is a derby. There are some folks who harvest the bass, but every year more and more bass are brought to the tanks and they're released via the live release boat. But a few people eat bass, and that's okay. It's your fish, your choice. Does that make sense, Scotty? Like, we're not going to tell people otherwise.
100%.
But yeah, it's a great event, and the money raised goes towards maintaining the local live release boat that Long Point Bay anglers have, and it's used for all kinds of local bass tournaments that we have down in Long Point area. So it's a great fundraiser for that group, but I'm so happy that we're back to doing that again. So I'll be down. I'm not even going to be fishing on opening day, buddy. I'm going to be down. Well, I might wet a couple lines at the dock in the morning. Well, after we're done setting up. Once the fish start coming in, we'll be busy weighing fish and taking pictures.
Right on, brother.
And bring the kids down, because if you're an adult, you buy a ticket, and your kid catches a bass, they can bring their fish in, and they can weigh their fish in with your ticket, and we're gonna have raffle prizes for all the kids that bring their fish in too. So.
Right on. Well, listen, Dave Sanderson has a question about the Ontario Kayak Bassmaster Tourney this Sunday. Dave, as I learned last week, information cannot be shared. So if you are looking for advice, private message. That's the best way to go. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, for the kayakers, I hope the weather forecast holds, because right now the weekend looks pretty wind friendly right now. But
yes,
usually bass opener from this past weekend, it was not that friendly.
Was it ever? I couldn't get over the wind on the weekend. It's been a year of wind, whether it was the winter time or now. We can't seem to dodge these unbelievable wind patterns. And I know we speak of it like it's something that others don't have to deal with, like our good buddy Walt out in Saskatchewan. I mean, 60, 70 kilometer an hour winds are something they deal with on a regular basis. So, we have to be a little bit neutral in how hard we complain.
Well, I heard the Quinny Bass Champs event was on the weekend out of Belleville.
Yeah.
Heard it was great. Lots of teams. Had some friends go down and fish it. And I was told the North Shore Quinny was bumper boats. There was about a boat every 50 yards. That's what I heard. So, which is true. The way it was blowing, my buddy asked, where would I go? And I said, you got to go to the North Shore, man. You got to try and find somewhere out of the wind where it's fairly calm, especially with the cold front that came through. I think the fish will be a little bit lethargic. Yeah. But, a lot of fish, someone always catches them, Scotty. Always does. And I was happy to see them being caught, which was great. So
Mike Howard's asking, do you need volunteers for that event? Would you even know?
You know what? Mike, if you're down at Turkey Point and you want to drop by and help out and check out you're more than welcome to drop by, buddy. So right at the end of Turkey Point, right at the end of the marina, just come on down Saturday. The busy time starts usually around 10 or 12, and it goes till 3 o'clock. Brad Thompson is the general manager of the Turkey Point Marina, and he runs a good shop. We'll have a stage set up. One thing we like to do too is we have the big weigh scale with the big red, the old red numbered screen. And if you bring a bass to weigh, especially the kids, we'll weigh your bass and we'll get a picture of them under the big screen with the weight of their fish on there too. So it'll be a lot of fun. And they used to have ice cream there too, dude. It's just going to be a good day of fishing. It really is. Even though I'm not fishing it, it's going to be a ton of fun.
So sounds awesome. Jay, unfortunately the pager has rang, which means I have to go. Thanks so much for joining us, as you always do each and every Monday. And we look forward to doing our fish species contests each Monday. And
so what we'll do is start next week is I'm going to bring up some guesses. We're going to try and name that fish, and I'm going to come up with some clues, and then the viewers can message in about what fish they think it is, Scotty, and if they get it right, we'll throw them in a draw. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan, my friend.
Okay,
you take care. Have a great week.
Guys.
All the best. As always, thanks so much for everyone who joins us. It means the world to see your support and you following, what we're doing, supporting what we're doing, seeing what's next, or just stopping by to say hello. It's all the same to us, but it means the world. I want all of you to have a great week. Be patient. We will be putting our winners together, our ponds, wheels, whatever it is we're going to be spinning. Join Mike and I tomorrow to find out who wins the 4 combos that we're going to be giving away. But in the meantime, stay classy and stay out of trouble. Speaking of which, Dave, take us away.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end.